Boom! Welcome to Sportsbit Betting Insight today. Paulie and Teddy, but I have no Paulie today. He was throwing up. I told him, don't barf on air. I'll try solo today. So that's the way it's going to go. Today's show is loaded. We're going to open bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books like we do every day. We're going to break down Thursday night football, Texans traveling to the Bengals, plus tonight's Dodgers-Giants MLB. I guess we'll call it a showdown. Maybe a slump buster for LA. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And of course, deep dive today, a first-time guest for Sportsbit. We've got Dave Mason from Betonline talking about how his sportsbook fared over the weekend. So let's get right into it. And we'll start with, I'm not going to call it a bad beat. I got to call it at least a tough beat. That Saints-Vikings game snuck over the total. You know, not an easy one to swallow. 4 fourth quarter scoring drives. The defenses were insane in the red zone. All of those short field goals, the over was dead. Well, ended up sneaking over by a half point on that last touchdown from the Saints. As total closed 47.5 in most shops. Well, landed 48. Yeah, a tough beat if you had the under, especially if you had it at a bad number. We'll talk about this game more in a moment because guess what? Not a great result for the house either. 48, a particularly bad landing point for the bookmakers. Let's start with a couple of bad bets in MLB from last night. A lot of Baltimore money. Bettors all over Ubaldo. Why? Not a pretty effort. Orioles were bet up from plus 115 to minus 120, so a switch of favorites in that ball game. That a bad bet and a good result for the house. And of course, we got to talk about the Dodgers. Dodgers bet up again last night, minus 185 up to minus 220. Their losing streak, this is a team on a 10-game losing streak that was bet up to minus 220. Well, the losing streak's at 11 now. They've lost 15 out of their last 16. The Dodgers, not a month ago, like 2.5 weeks ago, had the field lapped when it came to MLB profitability for the season. They were more than twice as profitable as the number 2 team in baseball, mid-August. Well, guess what? Now, for the season, the Dodgers are up a grand total of 8 units. They're down nearly 30 units during this skid. And oh, by the way, they're huge favorites tonight. Talk about that game when it comes to big game breakdown. All right, let's take a look at bad results for the books from last night. Because look, one thing that you could have done last night, and the wise guys did, middle on not one game, both games. All right, the Vikings-Saints total. Bouncing around, 48.5 available on game day, 48 all over the place, closed 47/47.5, landed right on 48. You know what the wise guys were doing? They were betting under 48.5. They were betting over 47, over 47.5. That was not a good result when it came to the total on Monday Night Football. And of course, all the public got involved on game day when the total had been bet down to 47.5. They all cashed their over tickets. Public bettors, not known for playing a whole lot of unders. They certainly didn't on Monday Night Football last night. So the public cashed and the wise guys cashed on that total. And then you had the Chargers-Broncos side, where the books were in line for a real nice result, with Denver cruising up 17 in the fourth quarter. Well, and then the Broncos did their best to implode in the fourth quarter. The Chargers were plus 3.5 all summer long, really up until about a week Saturday. They were plus 3.5. Then the line moved to 3, and guess what? It closed plus 2.5 at many shops, plus 3 with extra juice anywhere. So the fact that Young Hoku missed the field, well, I'm not going to blame him. He wasn't the guy who got iced during the timeout. It was the starting center for San Diego, the rookie who got iced during the timeout. Koo had the field goal blocked, which resulted in Denver winning by exactly 3, which resulted in a legitimate middle on the side for Monday Night Football. That's never good for bookmakers when it opens 3.5 and closes 2.5 and lands 3. Yeah, books took a beating. A lot of books took a beating on that one, especially books that cater to wise guy bettors. They really got hit hard by both Monday Night Football games landing in the middle. A couple more bad results for the books from last night. We got to talk about the Indians. We're going to talk about the Dodgers going the one way, Cleveland going the other way. They opened minus 295 yesterday. They closed market-wide minus $4, as high as minus 450 at some books. And guess what? The sharps were all over Carlos Carrasco. The public was all over Carlos Carrasco. And this is nothing new for the wise guys. The wise guys have been all over Carlos Carrasco all season. And, of course, now the public is in every day on the Tribe. Cleveland 21-8 in Carrasco starts this season. I mean, you see it for today's line. All right. Today became okay, cut the crap from the books when it came to the Indians. They opened minus $5 tonight with Kluber over Boyd and the Tigers, although there has been a little bit of early action on Detroit to bring it down a bit. Certainly the books have been stung by this extended Cleveland Indians winning streak. One more game to talk about when it comes to bad results for the house from last night, and that, of course, the New York Yankees. And it was a tough game for the odds makers to price. And frankly, they got it wrong. The Rays forced to play a home game in New York. It wasn't a Yankee Stadium, it was the Citi Field in Queens, but nonetheless, the 15,000 in attendance last night were certainly primarily Yankees fans. So Tampa got to bat last. Didn't do them a whole lot of good. Money poured in on the Yanks. They were bet from minus 125 up to minus 155. Rays distracted by Irma, the impact on their families, the impact on their homes, and of course, the Yankees bullpen came in and was dynamite last night. 4.2 innings of shutout ball, 6 strikeouts, only 3 base runners allowed. When we come back, it's time for Big Game Breakdown. I keep saying we when it's me. When Sportsbet comes back, Big Game Breakdown time. Texans and the Bengals, Dodgers and the Giants, right here on Sportsbet Betting Insight today.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.
Welcome back to Sportsbet Betting Insight today. Paulie and Teddy. We have no Paulie today. He's a little bit under the weather, so I'm going to do Big Game Breakdown by myself right here on Sportsbet. Of course, Big Game Breakdown sponsored and powered by Betonline.ag. Visit Sportsbook Review and get the best bonuses, huge sign-up bonuses for Betonline.ag. You can get those today. Visit the site, obviously, Betonline.ag, and of course, SportsbookReview.com, who sponsors this show and is an excellent and reputable source for discerning what is a good offshore sports book and where you have no business sending your money. Thursday night NFL, Texans and the Bengals been nothing but Cincinnati money from the opener. We've all seen a fair bit of under money of late. Current numbers, Cincy minus 5, 38.5. And look, this is just what the NFL wants for prime time, right? Now let's throw that graphic up there. The combined Bengals-Texans offensive production from week 1. Let's see. They had 1 touchdown, no field goals. They were sacked 15 times, and they committed 9 turnovers. Ugly offensive showings, truly ugly from both of these squads. So who's going to respond better on a short week? Well, we have a situation in Cincinnati. Andy Dalton, quote, "We've got 15 more games. We can't let the loss determine what happens in the season. We've got the right guys to handle this." Of course, how bad was Dalton in the passing game? Look at the graphic. 36 dropbacks, 144 net yards. That's ugly. 5 sacks, and of course the 4 interceptions. Andy Dalton had a very, very rough game. The Cincinnati Bengals had an offensive line, had a very, very rough game. And of course, that was a Bengals offensive line that was loaded with question marks coming into the season. They lost a pair of veterans from that line in free agency in the offseason, a pair of veteran guards. And the fact is, there were all kinds of questions about the Bengals up front. Those questions were answered in a very negative way against Baltimore in the opener. Of course, Baltimore's defense looks to be pretty rock solid. Now, this is a Cincinnati team. They're finally healthy at the skill positions, largely. And they don't have John Ross, but the wide receivers are healthy. The tight ends are healthy after 2016 injuries. A.J. Green had an impact, a minor impact on the game, but certainly a factor for downfield throwing for Andy Dalton and company. But that offensive line is a mess. And there's one thing we know when we look at Andy Dalton's career stats. When his offensive line is a mess, when he's under pressure, Andy Dalton is a bottom-tier NFL quarterback. Of course, the question is, can Cincy turn that offensive line around on the short week, but it may be even tougher for Houston. Certainly the markets think it's going to be tougher for Houston and the short turnaround period for the Texans. Obviously, this is a team whose late preseason preparations were affected by Hurricane Harvey. When it comes to the offensive status, the Dwayne Brown holdout at tackle stands out like a sore thumb. And then, of course, now you have a QB dilemma. And I don't know that it's a dilemma, really. But the bottom line is that Bill O'Brien has a choice. And there were reports that O'Brien has settled on Watson. There are other reports, namely the ones coming out of Bill O'Brien's mouth, saying, I haven't decided yet. Well, it's not an easy decision for Thursday Night Football. Okay. Let's look at Tom Savage's number. I mean, playing Tom Savage probably does not serve any real purpose. He has three career starts, 105 career pass attempts, and 0 touchdown passes. Against the Jaguars, he dropped back 19 times. He was sacked 6 of them. They had 29 yards net on those 19 dropbacks. Those are not get another chance type of numbers. And of course, this is a Texans team that's been trying to replace Savage, even as a backup, with basically every offseason the past 3 years. So it's not like they have high hopes for Tom Savage moving forward. Of course, Deshaun Watson was not that much better against the Jaguars. 27 dropbacks. He was sacked 4 times, a total of 81 net yards from the passing game. It didn't hurt that Will Fuller, their deep threat, was hurt in that ball game. Fuller's status doesn't look particularly good for Cincy this week either. And of course, the offensive line, they really had no replacement for Dwayne Brown. We're talking about a 3-time Pro Bowler who's been holding out and is still holding out. Bill O'Brien, quote, I think I need to do a better job. I need to do a better job helping them, meaning the offensive line. I think it starts with me. I thought the players played hard. They tried to do what we were asking them to do. I just didn't do a good enough job. So the coach falling on the sword for his team, that's usually pretty good for the locker room. We'll get back to this game when it comes to play of the day time. Let's move to MLB for tonight and take a look at the Giants and the Dodgers. Guess what? Here are the Dodgers. Minus 255, total 6.5 to the under minus 120. Kershaw and Cueto. Here's a Dodgers slide now. They're 0-11. They've been outscored by 44 runs in those ball games. They're 1-16 in their last 17, outscored by 57 runs in those ball games. This isn't just a slump. The LA Dodgers have gone from being by far the best team in baseball, by far, to the absolute worst team in baseball during this cycle. No team's gone worse than 1-16 with a minus 57 run differential over their last 17 ball games. All right. The worst team in baseball, the Dodgers, right now. And yet, what are the markets doing? They keep betting on the Dodgers every day. On Monday, they opened minus 187 at Penny, closed minus 205 at Penny. And of course, at books that cater to recreational bettors, it was even higher. Now, 2 starts back, Clayton Kershaw, he brought the only win in the cycle. He beat the Padres 1-0. His last time, he had one of the worst games of his career. He was down 3-0 after 3 batters against the Rockies, on a 3-run home run by Nolan Arenado, who hit another one of those last night. And then Clayton Kershaw got pulled before finishing the 4th after 86 pitches. Doesn't happen very often. Dave Roberts, quote, this is his second start back. For me, to start that 4th inning with 71 pitches, I felt good that he could have potentially had a quick inning and felt good about that outing. As we got up to 85, something like that, 86, I just didn't want to push him any further. We'll see how Kershaw gets pushed tonight, but when you're talking about a team where everything's going wrong all at once, that's the Dodgers right now. This is a big start for Clayton Kershaw this evening, and the market's certainly pricing it that way. Now, of course, on the other side, we have Johnny Cueto. Does Cueto care that San Fran's been out of it all year? No. He's a pro's pro that'll go hard to the end. And anytime the Giants have a chance to stick to the Dodgers, they'll do it. We saw better effort from the Giants last night in that crazy game that didn't start till after 10:30 p.m. Pacific time, a game that went on into the wee hours on the East Coast. We saw the Giants play hard throughout that contest. Now, Cueto, first start back from his extended stint on the DL. He left with a 5-2 lead against St. Louis, and the bullpen blew that lead. Last time out, second start back, he beat the Rockies 11-3 at Coors, struck out 7, only walked 1 batter. Now, this is a Cueto only had 126 innings because of all that time on the DL. This is a guy over the last 3 years, 243 innings, 222, 219. So freshness could make a difference for Cueto down the stretch. There's no way I'd lay it here with the LA Dodgers. And I'm not surprised at all that we've seen at least a little bit of San Fran money come in early betting action. Coming up next, Dave Mason, BOL, a deep dive that you don't want to miss with a first-time guest right here on SportsBit Betting Insight today.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.
It's deep dive time here on SportsBit, and I'm excited to bring a first-time guest onto the show. We're going to talk with Dave Mason from Betonline.ag. Dave, welcome to SportsBit.
Teddy covers. Thanks for having me, bud.
Of course, Dave and I had a chance to hang out a little bit when I was down in Costa Rica for the International Football Betting Conference back in August. And I'll tell you what, Dave, you got a pretty good gig down there. But one thing that I was impressed, you really have your finger on the pulse of what the books are going through on a daily basis down in Costa Rica and elsewhere offshore.
Yeah, man. I mean, I get to talk to a lot of guys, not only with Bet Online, but other books. And, it's an exciting industry. There's always something going on. And this is the time of year where all the magic happens. Everybody's signing up. Everybody's coming back that went dormant after the Super Bowl. And it's a lot of fun, man. And it's a lot of fun this time. All year round, it's a lot of fun. Passion and gambling. That's what you love. That's what I love. And that's what gets us going in the morning. So it's the opportunity just to talk about it all day, talk about it with the fellow bettors, and see where the action's going and all the hot stories. I mean, it's a lot of fun. So especially this time of year, let's go.
Let's go. Exactly. So let's talk about it. This past weekend for bettors, from my impression here in Vegas, bettors did pretty good on Saturday. They got slapped around on Sunday. Let's start with Saturday, college football. What were the biggest hits that Bet Online took? What were the really bad games for the book? I know Utah BYU had to be one of them.
Yeah, that was one, no doubt. The biggest ones were, we actually did pretty good on Saturday, believe it or not. We weren't too disappointed with our needs on Saturday. So that's interesting. You said that about Vegas. Usually we're in line with Vegas, but once in a while, something different happens. But for college, the public biggest winners, Oklahoma money line. They took it to us there. Oklahoma State Friday night. Clemson was a winner for them. Georgia was a real big winner. They had them on both the money line and the spread. So that was a bad result for us. But we had some good winners too. I'm sure you're going to ask me that next. I'll get right into that. Oklahoma, the spread. We took it on the money line, but the spread was really good for us. Pitt was good. USC was huge. The bettors were on Stanford, both the spread and the money line. So USC does some real good favors late in college. So overall, it's great. I mean, the action was awesome too. I mean, I work more on the marketing side of things. So these first few weeks are so important, getting the guys back. And, the numbers are looking really good. Our active numbers, people coming back, people signing up for the first time. So no complaints there.
Oh, don't worry. We'll give you a chance to promo in just a second. But I got to ask about this Oklahoma-Ohio State game. You said that the bettors came in, everyone that was taking that was on the point spread were on the Ohio State side, but everyone that was on the Oklahoma side was taking the money line. So you paid out a bunch of money line, but you cashed a bunch of side tickets on that game? Interesting.
Yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a lot when you have those two good teams playing, and that spreads anywhere from, 3 to 7 or whatever, and they're getting plus money on a real good team. But people don't want to lay that price for Ohio State. So the money line bettors will take the underdog at plus whatever it was. I can't recall right off the top of my head. But the spread bettors will take the favorite, as they usually do. So a lot of those games are usually, like, even when there's a 3-point underdog in NFL, I mean, it's just, I'd say 75% of the time we need the 3-point favorite. Actually, the 3-point underdog, we need them against the spread, and then but they'll be flipped on the money line. So usually that 1 or 2 point win is usually we scoop everything. But if it's over 3 or whatever, we lose on one side and not the other, and vice versa. So it's not too uncommon. I know it's kind of weird, but it's pretty common, to tell you the truth.
Well, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And certainly we hear that a lot from sportsbooks here in Las Vegas. They love it when the favorite wins but doesn't cover. They don't have to pay off any of the underdog money line tickets. And, of course, they don't have to pay off any of the favorite on the point spread tickets either. Let's talk about Sunday, because I know Sunday was a pretty darn good day for the house. And at least here in Las Vegas, bettors got clocked. We're talking about underdogs and unders. Certainly the early games, nothing but underdogs and unders. In fact, if you cashed a favorite, or if you played favorite and over parlay, you cashed a grand total of 1 ticket all weekend long. That, of course, was the LA Rams cashing with the over. In terms of Betonline.ag, what was your liabilities? Did you get beat up on anything yesterday, or I should say on Sunday? And what games did you fare really well on?
I mean, the early games are great for us. The Bears was humongous. Browns, that was our second biggest need of the day. Lions, Jaguars was massive, both the spread and the money line. And we started out great, of course, Thursday night with the Chiefs. The late games, we gave a lot of that money back, though, to tell you the truth. Rams, Packers, Panthers, all public side. So those 4 o'clock games, we gave some money back. Overall, it was a good day. One thing that you have to consider with us compared to Vegas is, we have all these bonuses out there right now. So, first couple of weeks of the season, there's so much bonus money out there. So, you factor all that in, you calculate all that in, and it was just over a break-even day. So, but again, that helps us with getting the early bettors in. So, it's a necessary evil, I guess I could call it. So, you look at the final, you tally it all up, and, we won, but we probably didn't win as much as Vegas, but a lot of that had to do with those bonuses.
Well, let's talk about those bonuses for just a minute, Dave. Now's your chance. Talk to me about why our viewers should open an account with BetOnline today.
Well, for one, we have some of the earliest odds in the entire industry. So I know, Teddy, you know the value of early odds. So if you want to get some of the earliest odds and the best value in the industry, head on over to betonline.ag. If you're into bonuses, we got plenty for you. Some people don't like bonuses. Some people do. It's personal preference. So what we have right now is a 50% welcome bonus with code NEW2500. That's the maximum bonus of $1,000. If you're into Bitcoin, or if you want to try Bitcoin, we actually have a 100% Bitcoin bonus. That's code BTC2017. And we also have a 50% reload bonus. So if you already have a BetOnline account, NFL17 is a promo code you want to use for a 50% reload bonus. All the terms and conditions can be found at betonline.ag/promotions.
Great info from Dave Mason from betonline.ag. Dave, thanks so much for joining us on SportsBit this week. Let's do it again next week. Let the bettors know, let our viewers know how the books fared over the course of the weekend. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Teddy Covers, thanks a lot, buddy.
We'll talk again next week. Dave Mason from betonline.ag. It's play of the day time here on SportsBit. And let's go back to a game we talked about earlier in the show. Of course, that being the Bengals and the Texans. You can still find 38.5s as a total out there. The markets are moving towards 38. They're not there yet. Let's take Cincy, Houston under 38.5. That's betting number 101, 102 for NFL on Thursday. This game does not have the feeling of a shootout. 2 squads with offensive line issues, 2 squads whose defenses are better than their offenses, and 2 squads that show no ability to contain a pass rush. Now trying to do it on a short week. Yeah, we'll expect a low-scoring game on Thursday night. Take the Bengals and the Texans under 38.5. Bet that now. The markets are moving towards 38 if you're going to get involved. Thanks so much for watching SportsBit, a betting insight today. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll have a healthy Paulie. All the bad beats, bad bets, bad for the books, big game breakdowns, deep dives, everything you expect right here at sportsbookreview.com on SportsBit. Have a great day. Best of luck in all your betting action tonight. Cheers.